Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another in the long and storied line of Quickview installments, which either make people happy or angry, or perhaps, hopefully, some little thing right in between happy and angry. Today, the subject is just purely for our own edification. Vanquish Yokohama Geolandar MT. If you look at it from a really far distance, it's a Falcon Wild Peak, but like a regular Falcon Wild Peak, because this is about a 475. It is made of Vanquish Red Compound, aka that delicious saltwater taffy you can get down by the seaside. It is a tire that exhibits a problem. Look at that murk. A problem that I have perceived common to the Vanquish tires, which is they have a compound that is very soft and very sticky. If we can just stick it to itself, right? Like peels apart, sticky. It's like masking tape. It's like making a ball of, like when you stick your finger on the inside. Well, we can do it this way. So very, very thin carcass, right? Can we do the Trevor Bauer? Oh, very nearly. It's so sticky and so soft, but the tire is so thin. So there's no sidewall support. So the tires wrap really badly. So we are going to put a Canyon Custom. That is a Canyon Custom Soft. I debated mediums. For those unfamiliar, Canyon Custom Medium with the hair bun. But I figured we can actually get away with using a little bit more support at the shoulder. And the width isn't way out of spec. Like it is a, what do they list? 1.65. Most tires will claim 1.7, 1.8. So it's not dramatically narrower than some other tire out there. Like, it's not Injora narrow. You're not going to just throw one of these in there. It's going to be way too narrow. And then that really soft shoulder is both going to wrap and it's going to collapse in upon itself. So I figured fridge foam gives us a little more fill to it. And it is not uncommon around here to test tires on softs all the way around. These will be tested on softs all the way around. They are non-directional, and as I said, they are Vanquish Red. So while I don't think bubble juice is explicitly mandatory, I do think that it is good for you. It will make you hate doing it less because they are very... And you will note, for those familiar with the Quickview format, ordinarily the order of operations is put in the insert, then put in the middle beadlock ring, then the juice. With these, because it's red, you want to put the juice in before, because otherwise the beads will stick to the ring when you insert it. And I mean, they basically, these have been mounted a couple times, mounted and unmounted a couple times now. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say they fall together, but of the other three, yeah, we're getting a little, let's see if we can get that in there. I had one of them that was, let's say, resistant to mounting and popped a bead out a couple times, but I do, well, because we work with power pretty much exclusively, I can overblast a wheel every now and again. That might be a little loose on the bead, but they are made of delicious seaside saltwater taffy. So if you have any amount of clamp between the outer halves of the wheel and the beadlock ring, it's not coming out. And we didn't. These are on a difficulty of mounting scale. Because they are so soft, ordinarily that would translate to, oh yeah, they just fall on the wheel. But But what we will probably notice is that it is pinched. No. Yeah, see right there, that's that little rise, that little... And it's because the sidewalls are so thin. Now, I think it's set the front. So we're just going to... Ordinarily, when we get a bead pop like that, I will flip the sides. I will put the front... particularly when we're dealing with non-directional tires. We'll just flip one side to the other. But because this compound is so sticky, the front half of the bead lock is basically stuck to the tire now. And rather than unpeel it and get the bead all weird, we will just stick to this side. And it takes another minute or two. It's not a problem. I don't know. It may be easier and give you less pop problems if you mount them by hand. But to quote that meme lady from the internet, ain't nobody got time for that. Least of all me. I mount a lot of tires. This is gross because this is the bubble juice for tires that have already been run and or mounted. If it's a brand new fresh tire, it gets this bottle, which the dauber just cleans the filthy tires off. So your bubble juice experience does not need to be filthy. But if you only have one bubble juice bottle and you're remounting tires with it, yeah, they're gonna get super gross. They claim 4.75 by 1.65. We'll be the judge of that. 118. 48. Yeah, I mean that's a class 2 tire. We could grab 20 different tires and it would be 118 by 48. That's class 2, baby. That's right. That's where we live. Where you at? This is the guy. This is the class 2 guy. So dent is. I feel like that dent is getting more pronounced. As I said, completely non-directional. Yeah, these all effectively fit the same. As I should. Ventilated, 2 spots in the carcass. I use 4mm holes on the punch. I know some people use smaller holes, but I like a 4mm hole because, particularly with compound this soft, what happens is you punch the hole, if I can even find it, and then the rubber kind of collapses back in upon itself. So it's not a big hole. If I was going to do a smaller hole, 2.5mm, something like that, I have a handy dandy shock plier that has a punch in it, has a tire punch in it, and they use 2.5mm. If I was going to do 2.5mm punches, I would do 4 holes, which is fine. You know, we're just trying to let stuff out because no matter what you do, stuff is going to get into your tire. I have had many a tire glued to a plastic wheel, and when the tire either finally dies or explodes off that plastic wheel, disintegrates off the plastic wheel, fully glued, there will be sand and dirt and everything else inside there. And if any water has gotten in at any point, it will have dissolved a bunch of the foam, and there'll be little foam chunks in there. So what I'm trying to tell you is ventilate your tires, everybody. That's the way they work. They're semi-pneumatic, so ventilate them. Vanquish Yokohama Geolandar, which I'm going to have to make every effort not to call it the Vanquish Falcon Wild Peak because they look virtually identical. I mean, if you know your Yokohamas from your Falcons, they look different, but they do not pass the 6-foot test. Out past arm's length, it's the same tire. So we're going to run them through the protocol. We're going to see how they do. We're going to do the usual things. And then they'll get a score, and they'll go on the board, and we'll move on with our lives. So come with me, will you? And let us see what we see. I will forever have mixed feelings about explicitly scale tires. This is a Yokohama Geolandar. What does that offer us that some other tire doesn't, unless you are precisely trying to match the tires on something that exists in the real world with something that exists in the toy world. In my experience, tires specifically designed for toy cars have more powers and capabilities. Very scale tires look scale. And we have things that we call sacrifices for vanity, and pure scale tires are a sacrifice for vanity. You are, in general, giving up some aspect of performance in exchange for appearance. Appearance over performance is a sacrifice to vanity. I mean, you know what? I think these are going to be absolutely fine. Mostly what I'm watching is wrap. I'm watching how much the tires are going to wrap up. I'm already seeing a bit of wrap on the rears because the sidewall is so thin and it's so soft that you can basically have one or the other. A lot of tires get away with much either thicker, firmer, more reinforcement on the sidewalls. I'm not a fan of like belting. Sidewall ribbing though is okay because we have problems with sidewall control in small scale. These are going to have plenty of forward drive until situations where they don't. Vanquish Red has never really shown really high levels of performance if the surface is particularly dusty. They kind of like it wet. Red compound is better when the rock is very clean. So what we are seeing turn in is absolutely fine. What we're seeing here on Slick Rock, when Slick Rock is wet for the final test, we will more than likely see an exhibition of a tire that does as well or better when the surface is wet, meaning clean. And for a lot of people, that is definitely worth it. Where we are here in the desert, those little micro hesitations right there because of the dustiness and the dryness will be gone when it's wet, but it's not wet here very often. So we generally make the exchange that we would prefer this to just, right there. How long was that? 0.2 seconds? This little, we get here and we cross it back and we go, bup, 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 and then it's over. That's the thing. That's the thing. And where you are, you might not find that thing. But that's the problem here. Well, you'll see. Remember that little bup, 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 which is like 0.2 of a second. Remember that when this is wet and see if it's still there. So I can tell you from the start here why red is not, I don't think we're running any Vanquish tires here. And it is because of that. It's because of conditions. They are red grips. But we have a combination. There's a peculiarity of red. Oh, look at that wrap on that rear tire. And that is with get it over. That's full crawler mode back there now. If it's dusty, they've got to cut through that dust. They can't. When they come straight out of the package, when you unbox your inevitable Vanquish RTR and it's fitted with Wild Peaks or Geolandars like this, the tires will be stuck to the box, very sticky. It is a similar feel when we're dealing with X2SS from RC 4-wheel drive. The difference is that when we back up and get through the dirt right here, X2SS will get just as dirty and tanned out as these, but it won't lose that little bit of grab. Just, you could hear the motor go, rrr, these tiny hesitations. And when you're talking about the tire test protocol leaderboard here, I think there's 20 tires that are all spaced in within a span of like 3 points. So between 99 and 96, there's like 20 tires. It's crowded. It is crowded up there. And tires have to fight and elbow for room. And those little micro hesitations will kill you. There was a an absolute micro moment of fallback right there. And we get it, and then we come across right there, little bit, push it to the side, and it's over. It's like we're talking tenths of a point. If it's a tenth of a point weak here, a tenth of a point weak there, it's going to be 7 places below a tire that someone's going to be like, oh, it should have gotten the exact same score. But no. But it's going to make that back up in things like wet. It's going to give up points in some place. Look at that wrap on that rear tire. It's just passenger rear is just scrunched. Sidewall on the side hill is one of the points where I'm really interested to see. I want to see how much sideways slide we get. I want to see how much support we get. There was a little wrinkle on the inside there. That's proper solid. Little drop down on the rear. That's what we want. Not too much. A little bit, but not too much. Stay in it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have said in the past on more than one occasion, I strongly prefer a tire that is overall consistent. And wild as it may sound, because I can't remember far back enough to remember what the Falcon Wild Peaks were tested on. Their factory inserts are very nearly as bad as the inserts that come in these, which are as harder than sofa cushion. If sofa cushion was a measure, harder than, not quite yoga block hard, but like we're getting up there. I don't remember what they were tested on, but these are definitely doing better. And in many instances, I prefer a 465. In this instance, I definitely prefer a 475. We get into this mixed side trim. There's that little slide, but that slide is super manageable. Yeah, these ain't bad at all. And also take into consideration that these have to be subset qualified. These are OE tires. These come on something that you buy. You don't have to buy these tires. So in many instances, I guess we could drive back while I ramble. In many instances, when you get an OE tire, it's bad and it's not good enough to stay, but it's not bad enough to discard. So what you end up doing is being like, well, I guess these are going to go in a box and we'll find a point for them later on. That is not what these are. These are well good enough already to be considered for everyday operation. I do not think that they are super foam specific. Look at that lift and it still won't fold it over. Which means that if you take this tire and just a Tim Tin dual stage from Amazon and throw it in there, you're gonna do proper okay. And that's good because that means no tire cost, low insert cost, under $20 to outfit the whole set. So to me, that's a winning tire. If you are buying absolute performance, you're buying a different tire. That's just an objective statement. But if you were looking at a scale tire that you already have, then bonus points all around. The yellow drifts are pollen. The pollen smells a little bit like bleach. I'm happy to report. I'm happy to report that the sun heats or cooks the bleach smell out. It's not that bad right now. Oh. Okay, all right, okay, all right. Nice. Ooh, little shudder. Ooh, getting that wrap. That bag or wrap to the tire, that wrinkle, the crawler action, that will serve you to a point. And after that point, yeah, we're gonna... does that count as bumping up? I honestly kind of think that it does. Almost made it. Trigger tension, I definitely had to put a little bit more on it. But that's an instance where we would dock them like a tenth. Come on. We're not mechanical yet. Let's get around. There you go. Yeah, okay, yeah. So very close. I haven't written a number down in a minute. I gotta write down a number. So we didn't get the dead pull. But that was honestly, that was pretty darn good. That was pretty darn good. We're always looking for the surprise. And when we don't get it, we can't be surprised that we weren't surprised, if that makes sense. I got earwormed real bad this morning. Again. You think that you've driven it out and it just comes back, but you know, we're guys, so we keep a little dirt under the pillow for the dirt man. He won't drag me down. I got distracted by the dirt man, got a little hung up there. What we're looking for here is maneuverability and positionability. How receptive is this tire to steering inputs as well as sticking to the line that I want it to stick to? And let's be honestly here. This is the best that it's done. This is real mixed terrain stuff, moving around in the chop. This is real good. This is good. See if we can keep that tight turn as we swing it around town. Sometimes we get a little flop down right here. Ooh, a little slide down. We're gonna stay into it. We're gonna stay in it. Okay, that's too wide, so we'll cut it back. Oh, that's just gonna line us up perfect. Now, many of you might not take gates into consideration, but a gate forces you to go. It says you must go here. And when you tell a tire you must go here, sometimes things get more difficult. I honestly don't know how I hit that. That was weird and wild. That was the best that I've seen these do. That felt really proper natural. Because I'm thinking it's not pure forward drive stuff. The forward drive on this tire is, I would have to say average. Based on the tires on the leaderboard, I would say average. But its ability to, like, let's see how tight we can tuck around right here. We're getting some early self-right tests, and early results are good. So this is a little choppy, a little more choppy out. Yeah. 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 I like that responsiveness. Yeah. Any tenth that might have lost on the one or two obstacles before, it picked it up on this one. My brain is one that is easily confuzzled. So I oscillate back and forth. This is a set of tires. Do I refer to them in the singular or the plural? Is it the Yokohama Geolandars? Because there are 4 of them. But it's 4 of the same thing. Or is it just the Yokohama Geolander? I'll just continue to bounce back and forth between the two. Cut, pull, very nice. 1 micro hesitation, soft side determiner. Ooh, proper good, proper good. Okay, you do that good on second side, you get the no fluke test. Right there. If you go where I point you, this is good. That was solid and easy. That's how we want it. Ooh, yeah. Forward drive. Maybe warming up a little. Oh, yeah. Right here a little. We can get right under the lip. Oh, nice. Nice. We may get a little bit of energy return on the bump. Yeah, donkey. Bow. But I think we do have, if not a surplus of traction, we have enough traction to where a bump is done with far less. We give it more beans, because we want to see what does the front end and rear end do. Where does the squirt happen? Are we gonna lose it out to one side? Is it gonna stay tight? Yeah, there's a good maneuverability to this. I should have given a second chance to the Wild Peaks because, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. And we got a couple sneaky, peeky, cheeky, breaky. Yep. Oop. There we go. Yeah, a little bounce, little bounce, little bounce. I like a snappy self-right. And this is an instance where loosey-goosey sidewall is paying off. Like, and I don't mean loose on the insert. I mean that they're like, well, you saw me stretch a tire out like a rubber band. And then almost had the 3-foot spin it around right there. We'll try one more of these. Yeah, and it does great on the whip. That is solid self-righting. These are generic Amazon 105s, normal hub. We're sitting at a very typical width, probably around 9.5 inches side to side. Yeah, that's that, and that's that, and that's that, and then that's that. I hadn't written 4 things down. Teardrop and wet. Teardrop is just a giant pollen snowdrift. Come check out that bleachy yellowness with me. Oh, it's so bleachy. It's I'm either in an indoor pool or a laundry room. It is so bleachy. Someone has been disinfecting out here. This tree is large enough that, like, where he's sitting, the sun does not shine upon this land. So every time there's just a little waft of a breeze, and it's just bleach. Yeah, it's fine. Absolutely fine. Would I come in right here and would I say, as far as an OE, so let's look at them. Axial is effectively eliminated from this competition. We're talking about OE tires is what we're talking about. So we have let's look at Traxxas, Vanquish, Axial, and Element. Element, I don't even think they bother to name their compound on the pin seeker or the grabber or the little grabber or the littler grabber. They are phoning it in. So really, it's kind of coming down to Vanquish Falcon Wild Peak, Vanquish Yokohama Geolandar, S1 Canyon Trail. I can see an argument where you would take the Geolandar over the Canyon Trail because the Canyon Trail is not a scale-looking tire, which is odd because they market most of their vehicles as very scale. We're waiting for Canyon Trail 2. But there's an almost unbelievable versatility to the Canyon Trail. The Canyon Trail is a sentimental favorite. It's not the grippiest tire. And there are tests that we've done here where the Geolandar will do better in some, and the Canyon Trail will do better in some. These are so close, realistically, in grip and performance, and it doesn't objectively make sense. Vanquish Red is far softer and far stickier than Traxxas S1. But Traxxas S1 somehow manages to do pretty much the same things. So this can't even classify as a better or worse situation. Canyon Trails don't care about mud or rain very much. Trail is in their name. They do pretty well at it. They don't care as much about dust, but they don't do as good in the wet. Oh man, this is an interchangeability problem. You have two very different approaches to a tire that reward us with very similar results. And that result is, hey, Axial, just let R35 go. Just let it go. Hey, Element, try. Just try. Total number of element tires being run in the fleet, 0. Total number of axial tires being run in the fleet, also 0. But I would run these. So, and we run, how many canyon trails are we running? A lot. So, Vanquish has done something. They took Seaside Taffy and they made it into a tire. And there are drawbacks associated with that. We will ignore those drawbacks here and potentially into the future. Because for whatever reason, this tire does a better job than the Falcon Wild Peak, which is just a little skinnier and a little shorter. So apparently we needed to be a little fatter and a little taller to get to a proper Class 2, because while they might look the same, it's Geolandar all the way. These are consistent and pretty good, and I hope I haven't talked them up too much, because I think they're going to do pretty well on wet. Take a little shot at the Dusty. That whoop, 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 same thing. I don't need to do it more than once. We're not going to see wear. They're not going to. Traction is not going to have dropped off. You just need it wet. Generally a couple passes to really know. We need to see. Like, identical, right? Identical. We come up. A little wetter now. Got to get past that little slicky point right there. Nope. Right there. Right there. Come on, clean it off. Clean it off. Yeah. There's a middling point. Like if it was raining, this wouldn't be a thing that happens, because it would be constantly getting cleaned off. We're basically using the water on the ground to clean the tires out. There's that little bub. That's same exact 3 bub. It is Vanquish Red. I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with the tire. I think it has everything to do with the compound and the way it behaves on wet versus dry. So the Yokohama Geolandar MT ends its day with a 95.5. And if memory serves, the S1 Canyon Trail is 95 even. I can't deny the scores. The scores on the day are what the scores got. I think if it were more moist or more damp out here, we'd be a little bit closer to a 96. I think if it was a little hotter and dustier, we'd be a little closer to a 94.5. I think that's where we're living. So 95.5 puts it on the board up above the Canyon Trail. I personally, non-objectively, subjectively, would put them almost straight across from each other. You could employ them in a very similar application. Here it is again. There it is in my head. Now, do we need the brothers, the jungle? Do we need side-by-side S1 Canyon Trails and Geolandars? Probably. Find out where that half a point actually lies. I'm not upset about that score. I think that score is right where it ought to be. As far as an OE tire goes, that would mean, in my recollection, it is the best one. Canyon Custom Softs, they did really well. Baseline is a light boy. I think you could go with a stiffer foam for a lighter rig. I don't know how much softer you could go on the foam, even if the rig gets lighter, because the sidewalls are, as I said, really taffy-like. We're relying on that closed cell inner quite a lot to help that tire maintain its shape. These are absolutely solid. I have long considered the Canyon Trail to be kind of the benchmark against which other tires are measured, because on the one hand, they're $24 a pair, and on the other hand, they're everywhere. Ever bought a Traxxas vehicle? Guess what? You have some. Can you buy them really, really cheap on the internet, used? People will give them to you. The Traxxas Canyon Trail is like a gem. You will never rip the sidewall on a Canyon Trail. You might rip a sidewall on one of these. Taffy. But solid. And if you are one of those who has bought an H10 optic, and that is how these arrived in your hands, remove them from your H10 optic immediately. They are far too small for that vehicle, but perfectly suited for like what sits before you now. Do you have a truck? Do you have a 12.3 or 12.8 wheelbase truck or buggy or pickup or truggy or whatever? Great. They'll fit right into place. So, Geolandar MT from Vanquish / Yokohama 95.5. Ooh, KLOS. I do like a radio score. I like a 95.5. I like a 96.7. I don't know how much I'd like a 93.5. It's a good radio station, but I don't know how much I would like that as a score. I think we did okay. I think we did solidly okay on a wonderful flower-filled, bees buzzing, ants crawling up my legs. What a nice day to be here in the canyon. Thanks so much for joining me here in the canyon. I look forward to seeing you in the comments. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And in between now and then, I please do invite you one and all. Do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time here from the canyon. You'll see these tires again. You'll see these on a rig or a build somewhere. They are like basically 93 is the dead cutoff. 93 on the board. If you're below 93, no. 95 and above is a solid line. If you're above that 95, we will see you again. So we will see these again. I will see you again. Thanks again so much, everybody. We will see you next time.